Hey, YouTubers, Raven here.
Starfire.
And today we're doing a review for The Flash. It's back, baby. It's back.
Back. Yay.
She's happier that she's letting out, I promise you guys. She's just not happy about my theories.
So it's season 8, episode 6, Impulsive Excessive Disorder.
Well, it was a pretty decent episode.
It was.
I mean, once again, the Royal Flush Gang, I can't with them. I can't.
I just kind of zone out when they're on screen, honestly.
They're not an impressive villain. I don't
do. Like, I just kind of zone out when they're on screen. I don't really care about them.
No. Like, I don't know. I know it's a cartoon, okay, you guys, I do. But I prefer their cartoon counterpart that I grew up on because they're freaking dressed in like the Flash has his onesie outfit, right? They have one. They have one for each of them, right? Yeah. And it's half of it's white, half of it's black, but they're kind of done, like the black outline is kind of done in the, like for the ones that are like Jack or whatever the girl is, I can't remember.
The Hearts?
No, the blonde chick.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what she is.
Like whatever hers is, like they have the little symbols above their chest and like a design on their outfit. I mean, their masks are similar to what they paint on their face, but like they're wearing like this whole like onesie and they're flying around on massive playing cards like the freaking magic carpet. Like, and they're playing cards that are the cards that represent what they are, who they are, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like their name, like Queen or Jack, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm just like, these guys are depressing me. There's no flair to them.
Like I said, I just zone out.
Right. I can't with them. I mean, even with the Queen, like she's supposed to be like this like overly dramatic person, you know. I mean, that's how she's playing it, but it comes across like
yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It does come across that way.
Like, I mean, I enjoyed the story otherwise. The episode, it was great.
I mean, I'm glad that Jay was alive.
Yeah.
And when
the whole Rose.
And what he said to Bart was really nice.
Yes.
But yeah, Rose.
Who the is Rose?
I'm just like, okay.
Like who?
Yeah.
We never met anyone that he would be with named Rose. As far as I can remember.
But you know, Jay is really special to him.
Yeah.
And so what he said was really nice.
It was.
And Avery was cool. I liked her.
Yes. Yes. I loved her react. Like, I loved when they were in the coffee line and Bart just like suddenly got all smitten. I was like, oh my gosh, this is cute.
And then when he leaves, she calls him McFly. I'm just like, aw.
Yeah.
Is she Jennifer that? No.
That comes later. Because it has to do with my theories,
Well, I mean,
which neither of us are happy about.
I mean, he did essentially erase himself from existence and his parents from existence, so it is technically a Back to the Future scenario.
Yes. Yes.
Just saying.
Yes. But I don't understand
It's
why.
just the only difference is his mom doesn't have the hots for him. But everything else is Back to the Future.
Yes. Now, my whole thing is that I don't understand why an event in the past that happened before Barry became the Flash got changed.
I think it all had to do with them trying to stop Joe from getting shot.
But the whole thing is that Joe never got shot.
No, he didn't. At least not at that.
Right?
Yeah. So why were they even
the
doing
time
that?
beforehand? So why was he ever put in a position where he got shot?
Yeah.
Because nothing before Barry wakes up was ever screwed with. So how
Yeah,
did
and we didn't
that moment happen?
We didn't even really see much of that beforehand either. Like we, you know, because the first episode,
Right. But like what I'm saying is that no one ever effed with the timeline before Barry woke up.
yeah.
No one traveled back to before Barry woke up.
Yeah.
So how did the timeline get effed up before Barry woke up if no one ever went back in time to F it up? How did Joe get shot? Because that was never supposed to happen.
Yeah, there was like,
So
it's like they
what
made up this
happened
random
to
event of
change
how
it?
Joe gets shot and dies in a freaking jewelry heist.
No, he didn't die.
Well, gets shot in a jewelry heist, and it's
Yeah.
like, this never happened. What are you doing?
Right. There's no need for it. Show me the reason it happened, the reason this moment in time got effed up, because you're not making sense.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even with this.
Right.
Like, the timeline, chronologically, everything has kind of sort of made sense up until this moment.
Mm-hmm.
For the entire series, right?
And I mean, is this supposed to be fallout from them getting rid of Godspeed?
Godspeed didn't even go back to this time. But yes, it's supposed to be fallout from them joining their dad in a fight against Godspeed. How does fighting against Godspeed, a person that had nothing to do with this freaking jewelry heist, or anything before Barry went into a coma, or during his coma state, how did that have anything to do with the fact that Joe was shot or not shot?
Yeah. That was
There's nothing within the 9-month time frame that we have been shown or told about that would mean that Joe got shot in this moment, because he never got shot in the OG timeline that was last episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's gotten shot before, right?
Yes, just not in this time, in this heist. That was never supposed to happen. And there's no reason that we've been shown or told about that it should have happened.
Right.
Because Queen, whatever her actual name is, I didn't care when they mentioned it, so I don't remember it. But the Queen lady, okay, she was there before the heist started. Come on, let's be real here. Queen Bee, okay, let's just call her that because that's what she is, okay? She was probably using her mind tricks on this poor dude and convinced him he was like going to go rob this whatever jewelry store or whatever, right? And so he went and robbed it. She was probably going to convince him to leave it somewhere where she could pick it up later. So this was a robbery through metahuman abilities.
Right.
She was always going to do this because she was a thief before everything happened. So she was going to be a thief with her powers after everything happened, whether or not she knew there were other metas out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this event happened either way. The gun just never went off before.
Yeah.
The gun was never supposed to fire a single shot ever in the timeline. The gun never fired. So what made that retarded man in the Santa hat for no damn reason
Wearing all of the jewelry that he's stealing.
I love Joe's line, like, no one wears the jewels they're stealing. Like, what caused him to drop the gun? And I'm sorry, but dropping a gun like that, nothing pulled the trigger. How the did the gun even
Probably
fire?
like it was probably already cocked or like ready to like go off, and so when it dropped, the impact of it dropping caused it to go off. Because that has happened. Like,
Okay.
people mess with guns, and if they're loaded and it gets dropped, or they put it down and it accidentally fires, that does happen. So
Yeah, it's just the angle was not right. And I'm sorry, but the graphics on that gunshot were horrible. Just saying. That was early 2000s BS. And I'm being harsh,
Early
even though I really
I was
like the graphics for that gunfire.
Yeah, that looked really like,
that was horrible.
it was.
Like, I'm being really hard on this episode, even though I really enjoyed it. But
Well, no, like, it's warranted, so be hard on it.
I got feelings about this episode.
We both have feelings about this episode, but most of what you're saying I agree with, so I'm not responding.
Yeah, no, I know. Do you have anything to say before I continue ranting about more moments?
I mean, why would you take my babies from me? Why would you screw up their whole story? All because you think that you have to save Joe from being shot in a freaking jewelry heist that it wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place? Like, I don't mind Eddie being there, but like, I don't want it to ruin everything. You know what I mean?
Right. What I don't understand is why Joe becoming, like, taking things place early. Like, I don't understand how that would affect the timeline so drastically. Like, that.
Why did they just focus on Joe? I know they saw this article about him getting, like, how, I don't understand how that relates at all to
because
the future and everything that got messed up in the future that they're trying to change.
Right. Well, I mean, like, the only thing that messed up about the future that we're aware of is that Singh probably got promoted early. And so Joe took his place because Joe got shot. Apparently getting shot in the line of duty means you get to take over the damn precinct. I don't understand that concept, but okay.
It was originally Singh. What happened with Singh again?
He got promoted and then Joe took his spot.
But I mean, like, did he get hurt and that's why Joe took his spot?
Yeah, he got hurt, and I mean, he's also been, like, on the wrong side of the villains, you know.
Yeah, because
a couple times.
So much has happened and I don't remember everything, but
I mean, he might have retired to be with his husband. I don't really remember why Singh left particularly. But even after he quit being the, like, head of the precinct, you know, like, even after that, he still showed up in the storyline sometimes. So he still had something to do with, like, the police stuff. But
that was just so random. Like, they go back to December 31st, 2013, and Joe is going to get shot in a jewelry heist, and they're supposed to be trying to stop that from happening because it's going to have this detrimental effect on the future. And it's
well,
like,
they never said that it was detrimental. They just said that was the first occurrence of time wibbly wobbly timey wimey crap, right? I had to, I did. Okay.
and let me
So
just say that when
was
she was saying that time travel is impossible, flux capacitor. Just make a flux capacitor, put it in your car, and turn your car into a time machine, drive to 88 miles per hour, and go back to the future.
Go get your boy, Avery. Go get your boy. Go meet your future self. Wait, don't do that.
I had to. Like, quantum physics and all that stuff. I mean, come on, girl. Like, he's saying mathematically, based on your thesis, you're saying mathematically that it can happen, even though you've just said that it's impossible. Like, Well,
maybe she means currently it's impossible.
Well, yeah, maybe 2013, but like,
Yes.
I mean, look,
yeah,
in the 80s, they could do it.
I mean, the whole thing about the whole Joe thing is that we don't really know what him becoming chief would mean to the timeline, but that's also just Joe's job. I mean, I guess you could say that maybe him and Cecile don't have the same relationship because he's not working those cases anymore.
Yeah.
So things get wonky with that. I mean, that could be a possibility. So maybe they don't become close to Cecile, so the things that she helps with don't happen the way they're supposed to. We can't really know the ramifications of Joe becoming chief, but like this early. But they prevented that from happening. Awesome. But I don't understand why that happened in the first
place. Why did the temporal wave that washed over when they went back to 2049 after they're like, oh yeah, nothing seems to be changed, everything seems to be fine, like Barry had told them? It was like it was delayed in happening.
Yeah, because they were in the eye of the storm, per se. So in that moment, nothing happened, right? But the eye moves with the storm. So they were tracking from that moment that things happened, they were tracking it, right? So they were staying with the storm, within the eye of the storm. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So what they were tracking was the same timeline, but on just the other side of that eye, there's the back half, and that storm was coming through. Right? So back half of the storm just effed everything up. But they were only tracking the eye because that's what they knew. They couldn't see what happened because none of them were assuming that the past would be altered from that moment, right? You wouldn't think that moment changed the past because the past happened. So why would this moment in the present affect the past? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But okay. And because, I mean, this dude didn't affect anything. Like, history said he was defeated in that moment. Why does it matter whether or not Bart and freaking Nora were there to do it?
Yeah.
Like, if history said he was defeated then he was defeated then.
Whether or not he was defeated and Jay was saved and everything,
Right. Like, so I'm just like, okay, so dude was defeated. Awesome. So does that mean that even though he had no ramifications, this current version of him that was never meant to go beyond this point in time because he was supposed to be destroyed, have any ramifications on the fact that he was never going to exist after this point? So why does the fact that he never exists after this point, which is his current self, not past or a future version of him, it's his current self because there is no future version, right? So it's his most current, most futuristic version of himself, right?
Mhm.
So they're not effing with his timeline at all. Godspeed's supposed to die in this moment. Godspeed dies, right? Period. So why does Godspeed dying the moment he's supposed to go back all the way, like what, 7, 8 years and F everything up? That makes no sense. So they never thought to look into the past to see if anything got screwed up.
Yeah.
So they only look from what they know to the future and be like, yeah, no, between here and there, everything's fine.
8 years.
Because the storm hasn't passed yet.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, at that moment, everything was fine because apparently killing someone in the moment they're supposed to die.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Like, I can't with that logic. That needs to be explained to me.
It's stupid. It's like they just made up that moment. Okay, we're gonna have you go back to this time because Joe's gonna get shot and you need to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really?
Yeah. So then they thought they fixed it, but they didn't because Queen Bee. I know Queen Bee is an actual character. Okay. Like, I know Queen Bee is a DC character. Okay, I'm aware of that. But this girl is a queen, and I really don't care. She's a bitch, so I'm calling her a bee. Like, ugh. But because Nora was thinking about metahumans, this bee found out about metahumans, what, 2 years early, 3 years early, you know?
Yeah.
So then she couldn't, so then she started her heists early with the Royal Flush Gang.
See Queen Bee.
Might have been season 3.
Really?
They were like a one-off. I remember seeing them way before.
So much.
Mm-hmm. But then they showed up again more recently. Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember the more recent one, but I don't remember before that.
Yeah, no, they showed up before that. I just didn't really.
Damn, really?
We yeah.
Gosh, there's so much like from the earlier seasons that like I don't remember except for like Barry and Iris.
I mean, they showed up. It was like a very minuscule appearance. Like, it was so small.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really do anything with them, but then they brought them back, and that's what we remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, because when they first showed up, they weren't really the Royal Flush Gang. They were just working together.
I just love though when like get those references to like other time travel stuff, like when she called him Marty, and then like the whole erased from existence stuff, and like this is literally that scenario. Like, they have to fix it or they are going to cease to exist. Like,
this is true.
You know, show me a photo with Nora and freaking Bart on it and show them starting to get transparent because they're starting.
I mean, we don't have to do that. We got Nora right in front of us. Show us her hand disappearing. Like
Marty's all looking at his hand as it's like starting to disappear because he's starting to get erased.
Yeah.
And then,
because it goes from oldest to youngest, right? So Nora would disappear first.
So, he's like playing the song and then his hand's starting to like disappear. and then George and Lorraine kiss, and then everything is good again. But like, it's just, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they come back on the photo and they're all existing and it's fine. But you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Before it's over, I do imagine Nora's gonna totally cease to exist, and Bart is gonna have to fix everything because he's so
because he's Marty. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, aside from that fact, but
I'm just kidding.
He's so self-deprecating and he doesn't believe in himself. He's going to have to be the one to fix it so he can finally have that self-worth that he's been looking for. So this is the moment that he's going to realize that even though everyone's saying, no, you can do it, you can become the next Flash, this is the moment he's going to realize that I can do it.
He has to prove himself
to himself because everybody else already believes in him. Right. Yeah. So he has to prove to himself that he's capable. And I think that this storyline is how we're going to see that happen. So,
like I said,
but
as long as Barry and Iris are happy and together and having their future together and getting to have their babies and getting to have their life together, I don't really care how early they met, how late their relationship started. I just want them together.
Yes.
I don't want
but
their whole story.
If it starts late, then Nora and Bart don't happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and if they're not together, Nora and Bart don't happen. So they have to be together in order for them to exist.
Right. But I mean, they can go to the future, figure out that they don't exist, and go back in time and fix it before the future solidifies.
Yeah.
So
the future can change.
Mm-hmm. And as long as you're not in your own timeline, it takes longer to catch up to you.
The future is whatever you make it. The future hasn't been written yet.
Oh my gosh. The future's never set down.
Huh?
The future's never set in stone.
Exactly. The past is. So if you go back into the past and change the past, then yeah, it's going to have effects on the future because, you know, certain things that could happen in the future will be changed because of something that was changed in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I do gotta say that I enjoyed there was one aspect of the Royal Flush thing I did enjoy this episode, and that was when Bart faced off against them. And like she was mind reading him and she was like, "You're from the future." And I was like, and then he started forcing himself to think, Avery's my future, the future. I'm like, oh my gosh, you got it bad, dude. But I love how you're doing the play on this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
I hope I get to see Avery again.
Dude, the moment that they left, you know what I wanted to happen? Because he said, I promise I'll see you again. He goes straight to her. Like, I wanted him to go straight to her. Instead, they freaking met up with Jay at the Flash Museum. But yes, I'm happy about what he said and how he pumped Bart up and whatever, you know, it was cute.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to go straight, like, find Amy, go to her, go see, I told you. Like, yeah. I know you're old. You're like old enough to be my mom, but like, so we can't really be together because you're like my mom's age. But you know
oh
what?
My gosh.
Hi. I knew you'd be in my future.
Lord.
You know, like,
yeah.
Joe and Cecile. We talked about this before the review, so we should talk about it. during the review, but yeah, I fully support like Joe trying to hit that early. Like,
Well, yeah, me too. I just wasn't expecting to see Cecile that early
yeah.
because we didn't see her that early. So,
Well, we didn't see anything that.
yeah.
Um,
You know, because
I
we weren't
mean,
really introduced into a lot of the stuff that Joe had dealt with in his life and saw
mhm,
that stuff until later.
right. So I do like that he kind of started wooing her early. Maybe their relationship in the future didn't have as many obstacles as it did when we watched it, right? Because like, yes, he tried to like ask her out on a date. She was really snappy and bit his head off, right? But then instead of just like going, okay, she doesn't want, like he was the same. And because of Nora, he was able to send her something that she actually liked, you know? And so now we see that no, Cecile's interested in Joe. She's just not ready to move on yet.
And that's how it
And
was with Iris too. Like,
right.
he was
But Joe
interested
would have
in
never
Barry.
known,
Yeah.
right? And so he would just be pining and nursing his wounded heart for how long? When now he's like, okay, I can look forward to this moment
Right.
that like this is gonna happen and I don't have to like
But Iris was
think
also
I'm gonna
not
be
ready
alone
after
forever.
everything that happened with Eddie.
Right. But Joe knows he's not going to be alone in the future. He's going to have someone that he can date later. He just has to wait on her to be ready.
Yeah.
Whereas Iris was Cecile before Cecile got the flowers.
Right.
Iris was in that place that Cecile was in the original timeline. Because in the original timeline, Cecile never got the flowers.
Right.
Because Nora was never there to tell Joe to send her the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
So in the original timeline, Cecile was in that same place as Iris was, right? So that's kind of where that was and where that, yeah. But the Iris met Detective Pretty Boy a little early because this heist was never supposed to happen. And since it happened, that means that she met him early. And I felt that so hard. Like, I never liked Eddie and Iris together, not because I'm a Byris shipper, okay? Dude, I almost texted you, Byris is no more. Like, I almost texted that to you. But then I was like,
facepalm.
I was like, she'll kill me.
I just won't respond. or I'll just put a flipping off emoji.
Yeah. But I was just like, okay. So my whole thing here. Okay. So you had a thing about the outfit she was wearing, right?
Yeah.
It's the same outfit from It Never, like
it's the same outfit she was wearing when Barry comes into Jitters and she sees him awake for the first time.
It's still beating.
And he's like, it's still beating.
Mm-hmm.
It was that teal dress that she was wearing.
Yes. And it's towards the beginning of Barry's coma, because Eddie wasn't shocked that interns would come in to help cover for Barry's MIA status.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not too long after Barry went into coma. So that means that they met way too early. So they're having more interactions, more chances to flirt and fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the moment that the hairbrush actually disappears.
Mm-hmm.
But before I go into that, I really want to talk about, did you not feel the attraction in the air when you watched that scene though?
I mean,
Like the way Iris fawned after him. Like I was just like I did not like Eddie and Iris's relationship in season 1. Not because, like I said, not because I was a Byra shipper or anything, but because I didn't feel the connection.
yeah.
I couldn't feel the chemistry between them. But that one scene, I felt it. And I was scared. I was like, oh no. Oh hell no.
I didn't really feel anything.
This is too early. I
But that's just because
like-
like I knew going into it because you told me.
yeah.
So I was more prepared. If I had just watched it without you telling me that what had happened with that,
then
I probably would have been like, shit, you know.
Right.
But like, because I knew that they were going that route with it, I was just kind of indifferent.
Right. I mean, I didn't tell you that Eddie got with Iris originally. I just said
No, I know.
they effed up.
But I just, I needed to see it to understand why he was there and all that stuff. But like, I didn't dislike it. I mean, she was clearly into him.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why they call you that. And she's all like hard eyes and stuff. But I always felt like her and Grant had more chemistry than her and Rick Costas.
They do. I completely agree with you. Like her and Grant definitely have more chemistry. But I like in season 1, I was like, Eddie and her have no chemistry, like zero. This totally always just feels awkward and right. But I mean, then again, you almost never saw Iris around Eddie without Barry, so that could be why it was completely awkward all the time. Right, because even though Iris was with Eddie,
and did you see that they showed Booster Gold when they were looking through those articles again?
Yeah, Nora was like, "Who's Booster Gold?" I was like, "He's from your future, Chica." Like,
yeah,
it's time now. So there's still is the fact that Iris meets Eddie for the first time wearing the same outfit that she gets reintroduced to Barry in episode 1. That, and I could write a whole damn essay on it, but
yeah,
I'm gonna leave that one alone because y'all can read into that as much as you want. But the disappearing cone at the end, that trip to Paris never happens.
Rude.
Because of the moment in time that Iris met Eddie a little too early.
How rude.
Oh yeah, it took me a minute. I full on was like, what the hell is on the back of that? Why did it disappear in green? I had to rewind it and be like, what just happened? And then is like, she's coming down the stairs, brushing her hair, and then she lays it on the couch, and I was like, oh, okay. And then wait a minute, oh shit. I'm like, it's something so small and minuscule that you wouldn't really Like, if I didn't tell you they effed up because of the very end scene, would you have even realized what just happened?
Probably not.
Like, it's such a minuscule moment.
I would have just been
people
like,
don't-
why is there green? Why is the comb disappearing? Why did it go away? Like,
right? Like, what's the
no, wait.
significance of a comb?
So the episodes going forward, anytime they're in the present, like our present, and there's stuff with
Mhm.
Barry and Iris and Team Flash, none of that is actually happening. It's all not happening. So it's literally like in season 1, when we got that amazing kiss and it was completely erased.
Yes.
Rude.
Because the time wave hasn't caught up. The storm is chasing the eye.
And fix that crap, because he ain't gonna exist if he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like,
and freaking, we are freaking supposed to see Iris and Barry have babies. We need to see them have babies. Like, he needs to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
He needs.
Yeah. So maybe this is how they get back to the whole twins thing.
Freaking
right?
Track.
Legit, I actually hear it. I was like, "There's an ice cream man out." It's like, no, that's over there. I'm hearing it through your speakers. Damn, he's got that sucker loud.
Well, I have that window,
but
so that's probably why.
Okay. But yeah, I'm just like, okay. So they like the moment that they referenced Marty McFly, I was like, fudge, right? Like, I was just like, that's adorable, but that has so many repercussions to that word. That name means so much. Like, you cannot just name drop. And then, like, seeing the brush disappear, because that brush has so much significance, even though it's just a damn hairbrush, because of the person and the reason it was brought down and placed on the couch, right? If Iris and Barry's relationship didn't start the way it was supposed to, then the moment she's walking down with the hairbrush in this episode, brushing her hair, getting ready to go to Paris, never happened. Therefore, that brush was never placed on the couch. Now, why would Barry and Iris not be celebrating the renewal of their wedding vows on the day that they're supposed to be? Because it didn't happen. And maybe they did get married eventually, you know, maybe they did start liking each other eventually after Eddie died. Because no matter how you look at it, episode 1 is always going to happen, right? And that storyline is always going to happen for season 1. But Eddie and Iris will have already been together for a longer period of time than they were. And at the end of season 1, Eddie had already proposed to Iris. So we could be going into a story arc in which, I mean, not actually going into it, you know, but like, they could be remembering a season 1 story arc in which Eddie and Iris had already gotten married. And that would, I'm guessing that Iris, for Eddie's death in season 1, that would still happen the same way, right? Because those events would still play out. It's just that their relationship would be different. So Iris would take longer to get over her relationship with Eddie, which means that when Iris had told Barry in season 1 and season 2 that she was ready to start a relationship, and Barry was like, well, I'm not, then that moment never happened, right? So there's their timeline isn't in sync anymore, and they can't get together for a while. It takes longer for them to get together. So therefore, I mean, the good thing Savitar probably didn't happen. Like, I mean, but
I mean, Wally and Jesse and all that didn't happen either.
Wally still would have come, but I don't think. I mean, maybe because the events that happened would still happen, but not everything would happen the way it did.
Or in the same time.
The things that wouldn't happen in the same time frame would be the relationship, the things that were affected by their relationship, not necessarily storyline of the villains.
Yeah.
The only reason why Savitar's storyline would be affected is because Savitar is buried.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, there's a reason why Marty was name dropped, because this is literally like a Back to the Future scenario, and they have to fix it in order to still exist. And you know, so like I said, the only difference.
So Nora's going to start to disappear.
The only difference is that Iris doesn't have the hots for her son. But
yeah,
other than that, it's the same thing. I just kind of laughed when she said McFly. I didn't think about it at the time. I just thought it was cute that she'd said that. I didn't think about like how significant that was, and like the symbolism of that within everything that was going on. And so, now I can, but like when I was watching it, like, oh, McFly, like kind of just laughed it off and didn't really think about it. But yeah, so.
Because Cisco would mention things from pop culture that had no ramifications. Like he mentioned Back to the Future plenty of times. He wore the Back to the Future t-shirt. Like it didn't really have any ramifications on the episode or the storyline. It was just
because he was a fan and because he loved pop culture, and he was a scientist and he was into all of that. So of course he was gonna like it.
But from a girl who is studying time travel as a theory and probability and talking to a time traveler, just got done telling her, I effed up time, help.
It's almost like the scene in Back to the Future 3 when Doc is telling Clara that he's from the future and she doesn't believe him and gets really angry at him. And he's telling her the truth. She thinks he's lying. And he's like, but it's the truth, And he's like, I want to take you with me. I love you. Like, but I'm from this time and I have to go back to this time. And like, at first she's just all mad, and then she realizes, and then she wants to go with him. And then they end up staying together and he has his time train and all that stuff. But, it's kind of like that where, except, Avery didn't get mad and she understood it because she actually like is studying that stuff. And, Clara was a teacher and she was into science and she was into like the science fiction and the authors and all that stuff. But she didn't know, because it was 1885, she didn't know like all of this stuff about time travel and all of that. And so, this is different in that sense, but it's similar as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's so much
where like everything was terrible, like in the second movie. That would have been really bad.
Right. Oh,
I don't even want to. I don't even want to think about how the characters and their stories would be in that.
Right. Oof. I can't even. I just, yeah, so next episode we're probably gonna see
I
them
mean, I
trying to
saw the
fix
promo
their
because
parents'
I recorded
relationship.
it, and it's about like
Mhm.
freaking gold rush stuff.
What? Like going back to 49?
I don't know. Hang on, let me.
How the hell does 49 get like
No, not the gold rush.
mm,
Like these villains that have to do with that or something.
okay.
It says
'Cause I was
when a criminal invades the CCPD, Barry and Kramer must trust and rely on each other if they are going to make it out safely. Meanwhile, Caitlin learns a valuable lesson while out with Snow and Mark.
mm,
But I saw the promo because I had recorded it, so
right.
um
So Caitlin found her boyfriend that we have not seen at all.
huh?
If Caitlin has a boyfriend we know nothing about.
I guess so. Here's the
At the end of the episode. Because Frost was like she was I chose to forgive my boyfriend of everything he's done.
It's mind control. We gotta go. You could just kill me, you know. No sense of drama.
yeah. It's called Block.
But like because remember Frost like I've chosen to give my boyfriend of everything he's done. He's turned over to leaf. He promised me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And but then she's like, I mean, and Katie's new boyfriend, Marcus or whatever the name, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who is Marcus? But also, I'm wondering, like, okay, so Frost is joining them in Paris, but Caitlin isn't. Like, I know, but Frost showed up. So Caitlin,
I know.
so I mean, girl was still on stage there. So I'm kind of like, well, didn't they show Caitlin? Like Danielle was there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean that's what's happening right now. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes me think that that happens, we might end up going and dealing with Nora or Bart in the future.
Yeah.
And become the next show, which I would really, and I would definitely watch that. Like I am so,
Mm-hmm.
I would totally,
That would be cool.
that would interest me hella.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
I think we covered everything. I feel like I did a lot of the talking. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I agreed with most of what she said. Yeah, so gotta fix the part.
So once they fix it, then everything is happening. So that's why we're going to be okay with the fact that they're in the present and everything, because once the kids fix what they effed up, then it would have happened anyways.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
And they can have babies.
Yes. And maybe because of the little thing in the past, they get the twins, and they're still normal, but the They're actually twins this time because twins, for crying out loud. That's the story.
Yep.
Before the show ends, they need to declare twins.
They will.
No, oh, I'm pregnant with Nora. It's twins, baby. Twins.
Yep.
Okay. So
I guess.
until
Until next time. Keep believing in the
keep
impossible.
believing in the impossible.